Alright class, we've got a special lesson. We're going to have a lesson on the Anti-Monitor, the Collect and Connect figure from DC Universe Classics Wave 17. Oh, and Scarecrow just fell down. So, it's time to sit down, sit up, and shut up. That way we can get moving on this. Now, Scarecrow obviously, oh geez, is related to this wave as he is part of it. But we didn't have him with the rest of them in when we had lessons for the rest of these figures. We did the lesson for Scarecrow a little while ago, and he is awesome. So even if you don't want to build Anti-Monitor and you don't want to buy the rest of them, get this Scarecrow, because he is excellent. And I think of all the characters to get a power ring, his is the most fitting, because he gets a yellow one. Oh, and it was awesome. I don't know how long that lasted. I have a feeling it didn't last very long. I wish it lasted longer. So what we can do is we're going to put this together. And if it's like any of the other Build-A-Figures, it's going to be friggin' difficult to do. But we can start off with the torso here. And we can see that his cape is all nice and smooth now. And that's because somebody did some ironing. And thank you very much to that person who did it. And thank you very much to the person who decided to wrinkle the shit out of the thing. At any rate. So let's see if we can start putting this thing together. I always have a real tough time with these things because they take a fair amount of force to do. Oh my god. Come on. Ah, there we go. Oh, that's like a full body workout to do that, isn't it? So, we can stick the legs on. See if these are a little bit easier. Yep, legs just pop right in. That's good. We can pop this other one in here. That just snaps in. We're about halfway done now. Then we'll grab each of the arms and we'll pop those in there. And again, I think we're just looking or listening for that snapping sound to let us know it's in place. And I'm having a really hard time with this arm here. Whoops. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Let's try the same with this one over here. It really does take a fair amount of effort. I guess that's why it's for the adult collector, because I don't know if kids would be able to get this done on their own. Okay. And now all we gotta do is stuff the head on top, and there's his head. He's a dude with no neck, and I'd like to point out the cloth cape is actually held on in here, and there's the peg to put his head on. And actually, his little douchebag collar here is bigger than, or smaller than the bottom part of his head, so we've got to try to fit the head in here, snap it down with this stupid cloth thing in there. I've not been looking forward to this, because I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. So we'll see if we can pry that in there. Okay, now we just got to see if we can snap it into place. There we go. I think we have ourselves an Anti-Monitor. Someone who doesn't look, because that's what monitoring is, right? You're just watching. So there he is. I think what we'll do is we'll take a quick break so that I can go and recover from the stress of trying to put this damn thing together. And then we will have a closer look at this big, scary Anti-Monitor figure. So we'll be back in a second. All right. Here we have the Anti-Monitor put together. And I have recovered. And I've adjusted my camera to try to get him into frame a little more easily. So I'll just give you a quick 360 view of the figure here before we have a closer look at him. Now, I have to say, I don't really know sweet bugger all about the character. I've tried reading about it in Wikipedia, and the only conclusion I can come to is, I don't get it. He's some cosmic being who's from the antimatter universe, who wants to destroy all the universes, and hilarity ensues, and people die. And then there's something about the Sinestro Corps. You know what would have been cool if they made this one as the Sinestro Corps version. That would have been excellent, but that's okay. We can live with that. So whatever I say about his character, please take with a grain of salt, because I don't know really anything about it. I didn't really follow DC back in the day, but I think he was kind of the main bad guy from Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, as I understand it, was DC's attempt at fixing their continuity. Or trying to. I don't know how well that worked out. At any rate. So we can have a look at him. Predominantly silver with some blue, and I like the fact it's all kind of the shiny metallic stuff. He's in some pretty badass body armor. I don't know how badly he needs it. We've got this thing, which I don't understand at all, but it's to cover his naughty bits, which we can see there. We've got some gold highlights as well for the tubes. These things kind of annoy me. We've got the ones that go from his big-ass shoulder plates onto his douchebag collar kind of thing here. His cape is purple. Now, I don't know if he had a cape in the comic books, but I'm guessing he did, and I'm guessing it's purple. And as I mentioned before, it's that cloth, well, it's cloth, duh, but it was very, very wrinkled, and I did iron it so that it's a little more flowy. If we look on the back, we can see more of the little hoses. And for whatever reason, whenever you have a character that's coated in steel or metal of some kind, it's always in that ridged form. I don't know who started that. I'm going to argue it was Iron Man. But anybody who's cybernetic or wearing body armor or something seems to have that. So there he is. His face, I guess we'll talk about a little bit. Now, again, I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if those are supposed to be his teeth or just the way his skin would be. But it's all kind of dried up. And actually, it's pretty good detail there. His eyes almost look like little explosions or something, which is also very cool. And he's got a similar kind of effect on the inside of his mouth. And again, I don't know what that is representative of, but it looks pretty darned cool. What other details I want to talk about? I don't know. He's got the little spiky bits or balls on his legs and boots, and I don't quite understand why. So again, I don't know if he's just in armor right now, if the rest of his skin looks like that, or if he's like a robot. Going back to the cape actually for a second. Whoa, I want to talk to that a little bit more. Some people I have heard like the fact that it's an actual cloth cape. Other people don't like it as much. My opinion on it, you know what? Honestly, I think it would have been better if it was the molded plastic. If I grab somebody else here, I know it's not the best example, but if we look at, you know, the Atom, this kind of thing I think would have been better, because then you could have had the texture on it, and it would have, I think, looked a little better. Honestly, I can't help but think maybe it's a retro look, but the cloth cape to me is a little, I hate to say it, cheap. I don't think it was that they're trying to cheap out on the amount of plastic either. I think that this, attached to the rest of his upper torso, would have been incredibly hard to package. So I think what they did was instead they made it a fabric piece that could be rolled up and tucked away, and I think that's why it was all wrinkled, and I think that's why they did it. I have no reason to base that on, just besides the fact it makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. Now for his articulation, if we want to take a look at that, I think his head will move. Whoa! A little bit, oh, it goes around. So there we go. Whoa! If you screw with his head too much, his cape gets shifted, and that's because, as we saw earlier, part of the cape is on the inside of his head there. I don't know if I can fix that. Oh, that sucked. Anyways, another reason to just have the molded plastic. Hope I've got that on there solid enough. His arms do move. They're on kind of those standard ball joints, but at least with the arm that I'm playing with right now, I find that whenever I try to manipulate the arm, this hose comes out. At least it pops back in, which is nice. So we can move that up and down. We can bend the arm there at the elbow. And then I believe at the gauntlet there, we can rotate the forearm. And there's a little bit of movement there in the hands, but not really much. We'll put that back in. Come on. He does have that extra joint in the torso, so he can lean back or forward. We can rotate him all the way around at the waist. His legs, well, they're on those same kind of joints, so they go forward, they go back. They go back really far compared to other DCUC figures. And I think that's because the guy's got no ass. Or it's built, I don't know, it's weird. Doesn't have much of an ass there. Whoa. Yeah, see, that's why you don't carry a cape, because someone puts it over your head and then, oh, yeah, anyways. I don't know if anyone did that to him, but they should have. Then it goes straight out. We can bend the knee. We can rotate here at the thigh. And, of course, we got a little bit of movement there at the ankle. So, altogether, the articulations, you know, it's what we expect from a DCUC figure. There's nothing really new there. But I do want to talk a little bit about the paint. I don't know what color the plastic was, but we can see that when they were either painting the silver or painting the blue on, we've got a little bit of a mess right there. I've seen other places where it's not terribly good, if I can find them again. I know we had some problems on one of his legs, which I can't find now. One of his legs was really scratched up too. Oh, there it is. We got some paint screwed up there on the one leg, which is too bad. And a couple of other places where it seems to be a little bit spotty. And the hoses for that connect to his arms to his shoulders, which I don't see the point of. This one we can move a little bit, but again, this one on his left arm, whenever I try to manipulate the arm, the hose pops out. And that may just be a little bit of crazy glue, but I'm afraid that if I put it back in and crazy glue it, it'll never move again. So I don't know how quick I am to do something about that. Now in terms of his size, just to give you a sense of scale, I know we were looking at that before. We'll stand him up here for a second. Maybe. Stand, you top-heavy bastard. Okay. Let's grab the shitty Grey Lantern Hal Jordan, just because it was the first one that I grabbed. If we stand him here, we can see that Anti-Monitor is going to be quite bigger than him. Roughly almost twice the size, right? But I think a better comparison, we have to grab my favorite Build-A-Figure, Collect-A-Connect figure, Kilowog. And if we put Kilowog side by side with Anti-Monitor, and we give it a little bit of room so you can see, I can adjust my camera a little bit, I would argue that Anti-Monitor is just a fraction taller than Kilowog, but Kilowog is still quite beefy. He's a much larger figure, but look where the waist is. It's up here on him, and it's down a little bit further on Kilowog. And Kilowog is still, to me, the best Baff ever. Ugh, get out of here. Oh wait, no, he has to go away. So, it is pretty big. I don't know if he's the biggest one. I think Chemo is still the biggest one. As far as I know, I could be wrong. But you know what? He's a pretty big Baff. I think in the comics books he was supposed to be a fairly large character as well. But again, I don't know how big he physically was. Look at that. That stupid hose just won't stay in. I may have to put some crazy glue in there and see if I can make that a little more permanent. Like, so we can pose him a little bit. I don't know. He's just got kind of got the angry thing going on. In terms of a grade for this figure, I'm always a little bit, I always give the Build-A-Figures a better grade, and I think it's just because I'm impressed with the sheer size of them, and it's a great marketing gimmick for people like me, because I just, when I get one piece, I kind of have to get the rest to put them together. But if I were to grade this figure, you know what? It gets a B+, and there's a couple of reasons why it doesn't move into the A range. Partly my bias that I don't know anything about the character, that is in there, I'm not going to lie. We've got a few problems with the paint on his legs and stuff, which isn't terribly good. This cloth cape is moderately annoying. It looks like a chamois or something. They're nice enough to give us a hemmed edge, which is good, but I think just a molded plastic would have been better. And the hoses on his arm keeps coming out. So, I think that's about it for our lesson for Anti-Monitor, the Build-A-Figure from Wave 17. Thank you very much. Class is dismissed.